Well, hello. I'm very happy to be here, and it's a great opportunity to talk to all of you about my project I'm working on right now. Make sure this works, yeah. So about a year and a half ago, I got a phone call. I was at my last job, and they said, well, it's time for you to move on from that job. We got a couple options for you, but one of the things we have that we'd like you to do is we'd like you to build an education program for NCMs, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what NCMs are in a moment. But I thought, well, you know, I can build a couple diploma programs. How hard can that be? It's back in Kingston. Sure, I'll take that job. And little did I know at that point the journey it would take me on. It actually forced me to start looking at what made a person like me in the military get to where I was. What educational process, what training process, what experience process was given to me to enable me to do that job, to stand on the stage here. They took a person that in 1977, graduated in Gander, Newfoundland with a grade 11 education, and was given a 50%, escorted off the school grounds and told never to come back, not even for reunions, you know. And now I'm standing in CDA, and I'm actually building education programs. I have a lot of smart people helping me do that, but that's what I'm doing. It really made me start to question also not only what made me as a person and within the military, what the person that would replace me in 2041. Because that person right now just joined the military. And some 33 years later, like I have in the military, he'll probably be standing on a stage like me, talking to a group like you. What education will make that person be able to do what he did? Because we don't even know what the roles of that person will be, what the experiences he's going to need to know. So it can be fairly challenging progress, and I found out, well, it's a really cool job. So who are non-commissioned members? Within the military, we have two tribes. We have commissioned officers, and we have non-commissioned members. Commissioned officers are like executive CEOs, and they, for the most part, have a degree. Non-commissioned members are the blue-collar, white-collar workers, the people that actually get things done. But we take them from anywhere from grade 10 all the way through post-secondary education. And it's about 50,000 of them. And they are employed in 60-plus occupations, everything from being a cook to a driver to a sonar operator to a dental hygienist. So the whole gamut. And they also work for 3 different environments, Army, Navy, and Air Force. So the slice of the project that I took on was a common training that binds those 3 groups of people together in those 60-plus occupations and those 50,000 uniformed members. And that is really an exciting piece of thing, to be able to give them the underpinning, to make them understand where they need to be educated. I also found something else out. Because our NCMs are one of the best trained in the world, our system actually works very well for the present time and what in the past. It became very resistant to change something that works quite well. When you need to push something into the future, if it's working well, and there's no crisis to push it forward, you really have to have a way of motivating them. So some of the reasons we needed to change our education system, and as we started looking around at why we needed to do this and what we were going to do once we got there, the world is a much more complex place than when I joined the military. You know, the technological advancements, changing global cultures, social media, for that fact, it gives everybody in this room a voice. And that's a powerful thing, and it's a good thing. It also changes how we look at the world ourselves. And shifting environmental and my economic factors definitely made a difference. So these were some of the issues we started piling up and saying, okay, where do we need to actually provide that extra education for people? We also realized that for most of us, up until this point, we had been trained to do a job. Exceptionally well trained. We're given the skills, we go do it. Practice that job, get experience, and became very, very good at it, come back and train people to do it again. That would no longer carry us into the 21st century, or what's left of the 21st century. We needed to move from being that professional to be a member of a bigger profession. We also knew that education is the biggest social influencer. If you educate somebody, if you give them a good liberal arts learning at the bottom of their foundational learning period, they'll understand their place in the world, their place with Canadian society, how to deal with ambiguity in the changing world around them. This is a fundamental thing that we needed to provide our members as we go forward in the 21st century. And we needed to move from just being practitioners to also content providers. So after we did a whole bunch of soul searching and going around, we decided we'd do 3 simple things. And we're going to build a modern professional education system. And one of the things I wanted to tell you right now is when we talk about professional development system in the military, it has 4 pillars. You know, it is training, experience, education, and self-development. Building the modern education system, we decided to attack the 2 bottom pillars, the education and the self-development. And that's reflected up here. We also know that we trained our people. The members of the forces are exceptionally well trained. They have great experiences. But we've never taken the time to give our training the rigor and academic accreditation it needed as we delivered it. We never made any effort to be able to build them pathways for self-development in higher education. So one of the things we're doing now is we're going out with academic partners and institutions and looking at ways to build that prior learning assessment, of being able to build academic transfer of credits for the work and the knowledge that the military people do within their organization. And that's no small feat when you're working with all the different educational bodies across Canada and internally within the organizations. We also have a whole bunch of occupations that are almost identical to a civilian occupation. A cook to cook, a driver to driver, a mechanic to mechanic. Why aren't we certifying them the same way, giving them the same opportunities for when they leave the forces so that they can actually get a piece of paper, get a diploma that says they are qualified to do their job? So those are the 3 tenets we're working forward. Building an education system for them, accrediting them, and also certifying their occupations. So the education piece, we realized that liberal arts learning is key to underpinning everything we do. So we started to look at how we're going to integrate in some of the social sciences and histories and digital literacies and science and technologies, bringing those pieces in. The idea was not to credentialize our training, but definitely to whatever training we give, we build an academic rigor to it. We give it a firm foundation and build it in partnerships with academic institutions. So that way when we deliver content, it means something, it has good rigor, and it is well thought out. I mean, when we went back to build an education system for NCMs, it gave us incredible opportunities. We can move away from the old chalk and talk that we used to do, where an instructor would stand up with a whiteboard marker and deliver an education right at the person. They'd sit there quite dutifully, memorize it, regurgitate it back to us, write the test, and walk out the door. Never to be used again in most cases. It gave us an opportunity to give them learning at the place where they needed it, at the point of need, a nomadic learning system. We can deliver learning to them where they need it. Rather than taking them away from where they're doing their job, to teach them about doing their job, we can deliver that learning right at them, right at the point of need. We can also go back and take away some of the ideas of, right from the beginning, school is a competitive system. In the military it is anyways. You compete against the people in your class, you try to get a higher mark than them, you write a test to get the highest possible mark, you come in the top third, we rank you. It doesn't really do a lot for us to collaborate. You know, it doesn't build an environment where your collaboration and sharing is a big part of our lives. So we're able to go back now and start looking at learning from a collaborative learning approach, connecting students, peers to peers, peers to the SMEs, and SMEs to the facilitators and teachers that are actually doing it, building that intelligent network of learning. And that makes that network persistent as they move out back into their jobs in the world. The other thing it does when we do that, when we start connecting people as peers, it breaks down the silos. Most organizations have silos of, we call them centers of excellence, a really fancy name from a very big stovepipe that prevents anybody else from looking in. But if we connect them at their basic learning levels and make them share and collaborate, guess what? Those silos become transparent, and you know what? Curiosity will make them porous, and the information will start flowing back and forth, and we'll really have an intelligent network. The other opportunities it gave us as we move forward into the next part of the 21st century, it allows us to look forward, but we need to react in the present. As I said earlier, The young man or woman that joined the military right now who is just finishing up their basic training in Saint Jean, Quebec, in 30 some odd years, they will be standing either on a stage or being one of the leaders of our organization. We don't know what role and jobs and expectations society will have on them in 2041, 2044. So we need to build an education system that's flexible enough to be able to give them the skill sets to deal with the ambiguity that will come in the future. Because we need to train them now. We can't wait till 2040 to give them the education. We need to build a foundation now. We're allowed to embrace new learning methodologies, exploring accelerated learning, exploring being able to deliver through digital mediums. Big thing for us is we can now deliver learning at the point of need, rather than the old school bus analogy where we stop their work, we load them on a bus, we drive them to a schoolhouse, we teach them, we drive them back, and we throw them out again and let them finish off their job. We just wasted 5 or 6 of their work time. And you know what? We delivered the learning in an artificial environment where it's not necessarily realistic for what they're doing. There's no engagement, there's no belief that they're actually going to be able to use a skill set in real life. The other thing that technology has given us is the ability to make learning persistent. Before we went to colleges and our schools, you were given a book, you marked in a book, you made your notes, you left the school, you put them on a shelf someplace, you couldn't take them to your workplace, there was no way to be able to access that information anymore. Now we can make that learning persistent through the ubiquitous type of Wi-Fi and social media. You can reach up and pull down that learning again and use it when you need it, and also be able to connect with your peers and be able to find out answers to them. Have you done this before? How did you solve it? Where did we go? What are the information that you used? That connecting the people into the intelligent people's network. That is crucial for us as we move forward, because problems will come back at us in a quicker, faster way. We also have another problem. Time is non-renewable. When the new person joins the military, we keep them pretty busy. There's not a lot of white spaces in their lives. We're training them to do a new job. We're training them to be in the military. We're training them to do a whole whack of things. We're employing them every day. There is not a lot of time to be adding yet another layer of learning into their lives. So it forces us to go back and look into the learning we're delivering now and take out the stuff that we believe will not be needed in the future and insert the new stuff. Weave it into the fabric of their lives and deliver information progressively, rather than that schoolhouse syndrome of bringing them in, giving them 6 weeks of education, throwing them back out again. Why don't we take that education and stretch it over their whole career, delivering it in little chunks as they need it, at the rank levels they need. The other thing is, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. There are people doing this out there right now. We can capitalize on it, bring it forward, and learn from their lessons. And the final reasons we need to do this, I guess, is one of the unique things about the military is we grow our own leaders. You don't see in the paper looking for a leader to take over one of the battalions or one of the Air Force squadrons. We don't import CEOs. Every person who comes in our military, we build that leader from that group of people from scratch. Everybody who comes in our military has the opportunity to be the top leader within that organization. We need to give them the skill sets to do that job. And another really good reason we need to do this is members of the military are loaned to us from Canadian society. We're volunteers. A person joins us, he volunteers to serve, he serves for a period of time, and then decides to exit the military. It is our obligation to be able to return that member, that person, that Canadian, better than when we got them, to be able to give them an educational foundation that they can continue to function in society and work towards a better life. To keep being one of the best in the world, as we are right now, the NCM Corps, we have to train like the best, and we have to educate like the best. And that's just a fundamental thing. And lastly, I think the big thing I would like to say, it is probably the right thing to do. Without a doubt, it is the right thing to do to be able to change our educational system and give these 50,000+ Canadians a chance to experience a full military career and have the right education to excel at it. And final thoughts, not bad timing. And the final thoughts, I would like to say I'd like to thank all the TED organizers and all the speakers here today for coming out. It's a fantastic event, and thank you very much. You can get a hold of me here.